World leaders are continuing to share their countries' experiencing with climate change at the COP27 meeting in Egypt. But one of the key issues on the summit's agenda is compensation for poorer countries being affected. Among those is Pakistan, which suffered devastating floods earlier this year. More than 1,500 lives were lost and more than 2 million homes devastated, along with roads and bridges. Around 30,000 hospitals and schools were also damaged or destroyed. The Pakistan government has put the overall cost of the floods at the equivalent of $30 billion. Our South Asia correspondent Rajini Vaidyanathan reports from southwestern province of Baluchistan.
The waters came, wrecking everything in their path. The classroom block at Orak Boys' School stood no chance. One small mercy is that no one was inside at the time. Rahan watched as his school turned to ruin.
I was standing on the hill when I saw the water and rocks gushing down. Our classroom was destroyed. We even lost our playground.
Claimed by a catastrophe, Pakistan's government says is due to climate change. Another tale of devastation at the girls' school close by. And an early lesson in resilience. In these socially conservative districts, where many girls aren't allowed to attend school, it was already tough to get an education. Now they're learning in tents. 15-year-old Aisha is determined to become a doctor.
I missed my classroom. We had desks and we didn't have to sit on the floor. My dream is for my school to be rebuilt.
Brick by brick, recovery is slow. Abdul Qayyum collects the fragments of the home, which was in his family for a century.
My daughter is desperate to move back here. Day and night, she asks for her bedroom. I'm scared to rebuild here in case it floods again.
This part of Balochistan doesn't get much rain, let alone flash floods. But this year they arrived with force, the water destroying not just homes and schools, but roads and bridges. An entire landscape redrawn. It could take a lot of time and money to rebuild. A monsoon on steroids, says the UN. This was the wettest August ever for these southern provinces. Pakistan's only responsible for a tiny fraction of global emissions. The country's Prime Minister told a meeting at COP27 that the West needs to compensate poorer nations like his.
Some countries, namely Pakistan, will be more exposed, more deeply vulnerable than others living in cooler longitudes. In my country, Sekjan, millions of people are going into winter without the shelter or livelihood.
Millions remain homeless, already struggling through an economic crisis. A climate disaster has plunged them into further despair. The waters may have receded, but here they still feel stranded. Rajini Vaidyanathan, BBC News, Balochistan.